What's up everyone, this is Scott from Distortion Ltd. So I'm back this week with a bass demo of a wah. This happens to be the Wilson Effects 12 position wah. It's been out for a while, but there hasn't really been a bass specific demo out there that I've seen, so I wanted to check this thing out. Now Kevin Wilson sent this thing out, and I'm pretty sure I know why. It allows a ton of bottom end through this particular wah. There's a lot of variability on the exterior of it, and then also a couple trim pots on the inside as well, which I found useful if you're using an active instrument. You might want to bring the volume on back. You're able to do that on this particular pedal. So an awesome unit. Let's check out some different sounds and different features on this thing. All right, you guys, let's check out the controls on this thing. So we got 3 knobs on the right side of this wah. We've got growl, Q, and depth. So the growl is really a bass and gain control. And so all the way to the heel, counterclockwise is going to allow the max amount of bottom end through the wah. And that's really the biggest problem we face as bass players with wah-wah pedals. You click the thing on and you lose, half the bottom end. That's not the case with with the Wilson 12 position at all. In fact, I'd say all the way open, you're getting more bottom end than you're sending into it. So I need to throttle that back just a little bit. The Q, different Q settings going all the way towards the toe is a darker tone. Clicking it towards the heel, brightens the tone. We'll sweep through that and check that out. And depth, what that is a all the way open is going to be the full range of the wah, the maximum amount of depth. Bringing it all the way closed or all the way counterclockwise is the most shallow, most subtle sound of the wah. Input, output, got a blue LED on there, which is nice. Now we got the standard old school feet, screw feet. I just want to show you guys the inside real quick here. So we got two trim pots on the inside. We've got a volume and a mid-range control. Now the volume is pretty cool if you're running an active bass. You know, like I plugged my Stingray into it and I wanted to bring it back just a little bit, and that did the trick. Now these things ship with it about a third of the way open, which leads me to believe there's a ton of gain that this is capable of if you want to open it up for whatever reason. You have a low output instrument. You've got plenty of gain there to work with. Mid-range control. Works off standard 9-volt, which is really nice. They recommend off the website that you use a regulated supply. I did find that that worked best for me. All right, you guys, I got my passive jazz bass here. And we're just going to cycle through the controls real quick and show you what each one of them does. Now, this is pretty much how I had the settings for the 3 demos at the beginning of the video. I maybe varied them a little bit depending on the track, but the growl gain control I pretty much had at the rear almost. If you want to filter out some bottom, just bring it on up. Let me put that back where I like it. Now the Q control I had towards the front, which is a darker tone. Pull it towards the rear, brighten her up. Let's put that on back. But each one of these settings, these notches, you know, it's a bit more mid-rangey in the middle. Depth control, I had the most radical setting for the most part, all the way forward. You can pull that back if you want, make it less radical. So one thing I wanted to show you guys is that wahs are so program dependent, meaning the more frequency rich signal you send into the wah, the more you're going to get out the other side. So they're very dependent on the incoming signal. And most of the time, like in Geezer Butler's situation or Chris Squire, these guys, they've got overdrive or a high gain amplifier after the wah, you know, much like Jimi Hendrix as well. So I just wanted to show you the difference between having the overdrive after the effect, after the wah, to the difference between it having the overdrive before. So to me, it seems like the overdrive after the wah is a bit more expressive. You hear a bit more the sound of the instrument that you're plugging in. Now, putting the overdrive before is far more radical sounding. It's more like you're just wahing the distortion or overdrive. It really grabs a hold of it. But in Dishwalla over the years, wah's, you know, not something you go to every song. It's just a every once in a while thing. But the times I've used it, I have used it in a more radical fashion. I've thrown the effects before it and had great results both ways. So you just have to experiment with it and figure out what works best for you. But this wah works great in a number of different settings and genres. It doesn't really matter. Let's do a little funkin' with the overdrive on. One thing I like to do with wahs sometimes is just use it almost like a slow phaser that you can have control over. Thanks so much, you guys, for checking this video out. I had a blast making it. So if you're a bassist out there looking for a really versatile wah that sounds great with a wide variety of input sources, this is a great way to go. But go to wilsoneffects.com, check out their wah page. There's a lot of different variations on there. And if you have any question about what might be the best wah for you, go ahead and drop them an email. I'm sure they'd be glad to help you. So I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks so much.
Where's your hat?
Dude, my hat stopped.
Hashtag 70s problem.